Right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to We Got a Problem. So the BBC are at it again. You might remember last week the Victoria Derbyshire programme attempted to smear Sargon of Akkad, who is the UKIP candidate for the South West. Now, the smear campaign centres around a joke he made 3 years ago to the Labour MP Jess Phillips, as you probably already know. Now, in a show broadcast earlier this evening, the BBC were asking viewer-submitted questions to the London UKIP MEP candidate Richard Brain. Now, they attempted to smear both Sargon of Akkad and Rommy Tobinson in the interview, calling them far-right. Unfortunately for the BBC host, the UKIP MEP skillfully debunks their claims they are far-right, asking for evidence of the link between their party candidates and the far-right. He even mentions the joke Jess Phillips made about the Cologne attacks being like a night out in Birmingham, forcing this hack reporter to change subject. And Richard also calls that the feminist nonsense in the current day and age. And you can see the reporter squirming when he does that. I'll roll the clip and let you see it.
Philip Etheridge via email: is UKIP a far-right party?
No, absolutely not. This is a smear by the press to call us far right, and if you...
Well, this is a viewer who's emailed in.
Okay, understood, but he may read the press or he may not. But certainly recently far right has been used a great deal by establishment figures in the press, usually when talking about working class people and working class concerns.
Well, I think they're probably thinking about taking on controversial figures to the party as an advisor, like Tommy Robinson, former English Defence League leader.
Well, I challenge whoever thinks that Tommy Robinson is far right to find a single right-wing political opinion that he has ever uttered. Also look for, if you want to, go and look for a racist opinion that he's ever uttered, because the press constantly call him far right and racist. Left-wing agitators constantly call him far right and racist, but he is not. He is actually basically a moderate, liberal-minded
Well, people
person.
also wonder why you have Carl Benjamin standing as a candidate who tweeted that he wouldn't even rape the Labour MP Jess Phillips. Hugely controversial remarks, as you know.
He made a bad joke 3 years ago. Jess Phillips herself talked of the Cologne attacks, where more than 1,000 young women were attacked in Cologne, mostly by Muslim immigrants. And she said it was like a night out in Birmingham, and she thought that was funny. But in fact, there were, I think it was possibly as many as 1,400 victims of those attacks. So Carl Benjamin hasn't made a joke about
just to be clear,
about any crime that had a victim.
Are you endorsing what he said when he said feminism is cancer, for example?
Well, I think that's a figure of speech, and he is expressing extremely negative attitudes to feminism.
Well, he's one of your candidates. What would you say about what he said
I think he's perfectly entitled to say that, and I think that he's perfectly entitled to express dissatisfaction with feminism, because, frankly, feminism has become an extremist pursuit these days.
Is that your party policy?
No, I don't think it's party policy. I'm talking about what Carl's views are on this, which you've brought up. So
no, but just to be clear, do you endorse his views or not?
I don't endorse them or not. He's free to say what he wants to say.
But sorry, you're here as a spokesman for UKIP. Surely you must have a view on what one of your candidates has said.
Sorry, that's not UKIP policy.
But I'm asking you whether you endorse what he said or not.
Whether I personally endorse it, I would say that there are obviously many examples where feminist agitation and extreme feminist politics has gone too far. And I think many people feel like that now. Equally, obviously, it was very, very important to ensure that women had equal rights, got suffrage. So, you know, I'm a feminist in that sense, but I'm not a feminist in the sense that I agree with some of the more extreme things that are said and done these days in this country that, frankly, I think an awful lot of people viewing this are getting quite fed up with.
Last question. UKIP has said there'll be a leadership contest after these European elections. So how can voters kind of trust the party they're voting for if they do vote UKIP, if they don't even know who's going to be the leader?
Well, all parties have leadership contests, and it's remarkable that Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn have survived for so long when they're often so despised by so many people in their own parties. But those parties haven't found a means of democratically removing their unpopular leaders. Last year, UKIP did precisely that. We have a very democratic structure in our party, and if we don't like a leader, we're entitled to get rid of him, and we did get rid of the execrable Henry Bolton. But Gerald Batten said that he would stand in as an interim leader for a year. He's he's done so. He's done a fantastic job. He's very popular in the party, and our membership is growing fast. Funds are growing fast. So the party is in very, very good health now under his leadership. And he did promise that there would be a leadership election since he was an interim leader. And there will be that election. I sincerely hope that Gerard Batten stands in that election, because he's an excellent leader, and I will certainly be backing him fully and voting for him in that leadership contest, which is democratic.